The jungle of Veltrax 4 wasn't green. It was copper. Every vine, every massive leaf, shimmered under the red twin suns like corroded metal. The air was thick with steam and the low hum of insectoid life. But none of that mattered to Sergeant Alicia Reyes. She lay motionless beneath a curtain of foliage, her ghillie suit blending into the alien terrain like a shadow stitched into the dirt. A soft buzz vibrated in her earpiece. Uplink Live, came the voice of her spotter AI Moth. Coalition comms locked. Broadcasting now. Reyes adjusted the dial on her wrist. The feed crackled, then resolved into a pompous, echoing voice. These humans cling to their crude weapons like cave beasts fondling stick. Pathetic. General Titrek Voss. That voice, all venom and vanity, was unmistakable. Reyes let it play. Their bullets bounce off our shields. Their strategies, outdated. What can a species achieve, firing metal slugs at plasma walls? Laughter followed. Several alien voices joined in, mocking, smug. One even mimicked the sound of gunfire, pew pew pew, before erupting into guffaws. Reyes didn't smile. She eased her rifle forward. An M100 Gauss sniper, long retired from front-line service. To most, it was a relic. To her, it was a scalpel. Electromagnetic rails, tungsten rounds, and a custom dampener that made her shots nearly silent. She peered through the scope, past swaying branches and drifting pollen clouds. Her target, a makeshift coalition command platform nestled between two giant fungal towers. Voss stood at its center, flanked by officers, watching a holographic display of the planet's terrain. Her finger hovered near the trigger. Moth, she whispered, wind? 3 clicks southeast. Adjust .2 mils. She shifted. The crosshairs aligned with Voss's cranial node, the equivalent of a forehead on his species. The bastard was tall, clad in ceremonial armor etched with victories over primitive species. His arrogance made him stand still. Reyes slowed her breathing. And hold. Perhaps we should capture one of their snipers, Voss mused aloud, and display it in the War Museum. Stuffed. Reyes exhaled. Stuff this. She pulled the trigger. Silence. Then chaos. The slug hit hard. It didn't bounce. It pierced. Voss's second-in-command, standing inches beside him, crumpled instantly, his shield failing to even register the kinetic strike. Pinkish blood sprayed across the display table. Voss froze. Officers scattered. An alarm wailed, lights flashing. Reyes was already moving. She didn't wait to confirm. If it was Voss, fine. If not, she'd find him. The jungle swallowed her in seconds. 10 minutes later, she knelt behind a rotting tree trunk half a kilometer south. Steam hissed from the underbrush. Distantly, she heard aerial drones slicing the sky. Moth analyzed the hit. Confirmed kill. Target was Commander Eichel. Voss escaped with minor lacerations. Reyes hissed through her teeth. Close. She slid open a panel in her gauntlet. A holographic map lit up. Her next target was a mobile shield generator, buried deep in the convoy routes near Sector 9. Without it, Voss's bunker would be exposed. She marked it. The mission continued. Flashback. 2 months ago. Reyes sat beside her brother's casket, flag folded on her lap. Sergeant Gabriel Reyes. Killed during a ceasefire by Coalition shock troop. Shot in the back while handing over medical supplies. No apology. No consequence. Just another miscommunication. She remembered the look on the brass's face when she volunteered for Veltrax 4. Suicide mission, they'd muttered. Not for her, one whispered. She made them regret doubting her. The jungle throbbed with life as she moved. Reyes scaled a vine-covered ridge, using nothing but her gloved hands and grit. At the top, she deployed a mini-drone, shaped like a beetle, and sent it spiraling high above. It beamed back a 3D overlay. Coalition forces were in disarray. Scanning the wrong direction. Sweeping north. Moth, Coalition reaction? Panic. 4 squads deployed to triangulate your shot. One transport downed in friendly fire. No leads. Reyes smirked. Good. She reached into her thigh pouch, pulling a small metallic strip. A keepsake. Gabriel's dog tag. She ran a finger over the etched letters, then slid it back into place. Hours later, she found shelter in a hollowed-out root system the size of a gunship. She ate a ration bar, cleaned her rifle, and studied her next route. Voss will reinforce his perimeter, Moth noted. Let him. He'll think I'm done. And are you? Reyes stared into the jungle. Fireflies, if that's what they were, blinked across the copper canopy. Not even close. High above, aboard the Coalition's orbital station, Voss seethed. Find her, he growled. I want her head. I want her weapon. His adjutant hesitated. General, we believe the projectile was. Don't say bullet. The adjutant bowed. A high-velocity, non-energy-based slug. Voss turned, rage contorting his alien features. How dare they wound my command with such filth? This is not a war, it's pest control. But in his gut, doubt stirred. Somewhere in that jungle, a human sniper had just rewritten the rules. And she wasn't done. The jungle flared with blue light as a Coalition gunship tore through the canopy, energy beams slicing trees into charred husks. Sergeant Reyes kept low in a ravine, mud up to her knees, body submerged beneath a tangle of roots. She didn't flinch when a burst sizzled overhead. Heat washed down. Steam rose. Moth, she muttered, barely audible. Status. The AI's voice crackled inside her earpiece. Enemy search grid is collapsing. They've widened radius, tactically sloppy. Emotional response. Reyes wiped muck from her visor. They're scared. Correct. Command assumes sniper team, minimum 3 humans. She snorted. Good. Let them imagine ghosts. 3 hours later, the jungle settled into uneasy quiet. The copper flora still glistened with recent rain. Reyes moved in silence, slow, precise. Her rifle remained wrapped in foliage, barrel cap. The path ahead wound toward Sector 9, the location of the mobile shield convoy. Without that, General Voss would be exposed again. Vulnerable. Her boots pressed into spongy soil. The sky above pulsed in lavender dusk. Alien birds screeched in chaotic bursts. Nothing followed a rhythm here. Even time felt unstable. Moth, confirm convoy movement. Data uplink intercepted. Shield generator en route to Hill Point Alpha 4. Escort includes 2 mech walkers and 6 infantry unit. Estimated arrival, 0200 hours. She paused near a cluster of spike leaf trees and unrolled a compact solar mat. Her drone recharged as she studied a topographic scan. The hill was a bottleneck, narrow pass, high ground, poor visibility for vehicles. A sniper's dream. Reyes marked 3 possible firing nests, selected the one with natural overhang, and moved. The night deepened. Wind shifted. Veltrax's moons bled white light over rust-colored ferns. In the distance, the low hum of engines echoed. She was already in place. Buried under moss and netting, Reyes adjusted her scope. She tracked the lead mechwalker, 3-legged insectal, bristling with plasma turrets. It scanned the terrain with cold efficiency. Then came the generator, a hovering obelisk of alien alloy, glowing faintly with pulsing blue energy. 2 lizard-like guards rode beside it, armed with tri-barrel plasma rifles. Confirm shield generator ID, she whispered. Target verified, Moth replied. Recommend initial strike on rear coolant vent. Secondary shot. Driver pod. Understood. She steadied her rifle. Wind, negligible. Distance, 452 meters. Target speed, slow crawl. 1 shot. She had to make it count. She exhaled. Pulled the trigger. The slug smashed into the generator's rear. For a second, nothing happened. Then, whump, a deep concussion rolled out. Flames burst from the base. The machine lurched, then exploded, tossing both guards through the air like broken dolls. Panic followed. The walkers spun wildly, firing in random arcs. Infantry scattered, returning fire toward the treeline, nowhere near her position. Reyes ducked, shifted, and fired again. Second round slammed through a walker's leg joint. The mech toppled with a shriek of metal and hiss of coolant. The second tried to reposition, but it was too late. By the time it rotated, Reyes was already gone. She melted into the terrain, descending through a ravine choked with vines. Pulse lights flickered behind her. Distant shouts, alien commands, and the hiss of plasma charging. But no pursuit. She'd struck again. And again, they had no idea where from. Later that night, she crouched beneath a fungal outcrop, breath misting in the cold. Moth casualties? Confirmed. 2 Kia, 4 wounded, shield convoy destroyed. Coalition assuming guerrilla cell of at least 5 operatives. She removed her helmet and ran fingers through damp hair. They still don't know it's just me. Negative. A rare smile tugged at her lips. She pulled out her brother's tag and placed it gently on a flat stone. Using a piece of chalk, she scrawled beneath it, "One ghost." Then, using a recovered alien tablet from the ambush site, she snapped a photo of the chalked message and uploaded it to a scrambled coalition channel. "Let's leave them a message." Moth beeped in affirmation. "Transmission sent." In the command bunker high in orbit, Voss stared at the image. "A single human?" he said, voice sharp. The room was silent. His eyes narrowed at the words etched in the dirt. "One ghost. Do you think this is a lie?" he asked. "No, General. Local units confirm only one kinetic trajectory per strike. No secondary traces." Voss's claws tapped the edge of the display. "Primitive, but surgical. She's controlling the battlefield." An aide hesitated. "Shall I prepare orbital strikes?" Voss shook his head. "No. That's what she wants. We'll flush her out the old way." He turned to a nearby holidable and stabbed a claw at a region of the jungle. "Deploy Hellclaws. Burn the trees. Smoke her out." Down on Veltrax, Reyes heard the shift in wind long before she saw the smoke. The coalition wasn't going to hunt her anymore. They were going to burn her out. She watched the first line of fire crawl through the trees, orange glow licking skyward. She didn't flinch. Instead, she opened her map. A new path. A new position. She whispered, "Let them come." And she vanished once more. The fire came fast. It wasn't a wildfire, it was engineered. The coalition's Hellclaws, 10-foot-tall reptilian brutes wrapped in fireproof armor, moved in a line through the jungle, launching canisters that erupted into waves of chemical flame. Trees shriveled, vines withered, and the copper-colored foliage turned to ash in seconds. Reyes crouched in a shallow crevice beneath a fallen trunk, smoke curling past her visor. The heat hadn't reached her yet, but it was close. Too close. "Moth," she whispered, eyes scanning the creeping haze. "How many Hellclaws?" 7. Grid formation. Spaced 50 meters apart. Burn sweep progressing west at 2 meters per second. She glanced down at her boots, submerged in groundwater. Above her, leaves shriveled and fell in blackened curls. Options. Withdraw north to Ridgepoint 12. Elevated terrain, thermal cover, multiple exfil paths. She checked her magazine. 4 rounds. That was all. No backup. No evac. "I'm not done yet," she muttered. "I want Voss exposed." Moth was silent for a moment, then responded with a clipped, "Understood." She moved fast. Through knee-high pools of mud, under scorched branches and past carcasses of creatures too slow to escape. The air reeked of ozone and burnt metal. Her ghillie suit was a liability now. Wet, heavy, dragging her down, but she wore it anyway. A second skin. The Hellclaws didn't use comms. They roared. Deep, guttural bellows, followed by a low thud each time one of them stomped the ground. It wasn't intimidation, it was sonar. Sound mapping through vibration. She stopped behind a petrified boulder. A Hellclaw lumbered past 30 meters away, swinging a flamethrower in slow arcs. Reyes took a deep breath, steadied her rifle, and waited. "Wind negligible," Moth noted. She adjusted her aim slightly. This time, she wasn't going for center mass. She lined up a shot through the creature's exposed breathing port, just under the jaw. A single weak point in otherwise perfect armor. She fired. The slug punched through cartilage, brain, and out the back of its skull. The beast crumpled, its tank hissing, fire sputtering from its limp weapon. Reyes didn't move. The others didn't stop. No callouts. No checking the body. They didn't know how to respond to subtlety. An hour later, the fire line slowed. Rain swept in, a sudden Veltrax downpour, thick and relentless. Steam billowed up as it met charred earth. Reyes took shelter inside the husk of a tree split down the center. She laid her rifle across her knees. Moth, Coalition chatter? Voss has grounded his personal transport. He is on planet. Command hub established at Crater Base, 5 clicks southeast. Defense grid active. Why's he here? To bait you. Reyes smirked. It was working. She moved again before dawn. Crater Base wasn't subtle. The Coalition didn't do subtle. Concrete walls grown from self-forming alloys wrapped around a basin in the jungle floor. Towers bristled with auto turrets and scanner arrays. At the center, Voss's command shuttle nestled like a serpent in a nest of steel. Reyes perched a kilometer away atop a craggy overlook. From there, she could see nearly everything, except her shot. Too many shields. Too much motion. She scanned the perimeter for patterns. Guards rotated every 20 minutes. Gaps between patrols. 15 seconds. Power cells along the perimeter wall blinked in intervals of 8. There. One weak point. She tapped her scope. New plan, she whispered. I'm going in. Moth hesitated. Recommend ranged strike. Infiltration carries 87% casualty projection. Not a strike, she said. A message. The next hour was spent crawling, through muck, through branches, under motion sensors. She reached the base wall as twilight settled. The jungle cast long shadows. Her approach synced perfectly with the next guard rotation. She slipped through the gap, rolled behind a generator, and waited. Footsteps passed. No alarms. No drones. Inside, it felt like a different world. Sterile metal, humming power cores, sharp edges, civilized war in the middle of wild chaos. She spotted Voss. Through a narrow maintenance corridor, she saw him. Tall, composed, pacing in front of a holomap. He was talking. She's forcing us to adapt. I will give her that. But one human cannot undo an empire. Reyes chambered around and whispered to Moth. Broadcast audio. Channel 3. Loop one word. Moth obeyed. A second later, Voss's earpiece crackled. Ghost. He froze. Reyes fired. Not at him, but at the tower antenna above his head. The round sparked, burst, and shorted the entire comm system in the room. Screens flickered. Lights dimmed. Voss ducked, shouting for guards. Reyes was already gone. Outside the wall, guards scrambled. Orders flew. Searchlights swept. Reyes sprinted through the underbrush, rolled down a slope, and vanished beneath a camo sheet she'd buried the night before. Heart pounding. She didn't laugh. She didn't gloat. She simply waited. Hours later, inside the shaken command hub, Voss examined the hole in the antenna housing. Not a plasma burn. Not a laser scorch. A perfect entry wound from a solid kinetic slug. Bullet, he growled. She could have killed you, his aide whispered. Voss didn't respond. Instead, he walked to his desk, opened a compartment, and pulled out a relic of his own, a human pistol. Oh, heavy. He turned it over in his hands. Prepare my armor, he said. And deploy the remaining Hellclaws. We're not luring her anymore. He looked out the window. We're hunting her now. Dawn broke in eerie silence. The jungle around Crater Base was dead, burned to the roots, flattened, stripped of cover. No birds sang. No insects buzzed. The Coalition had sterilized the land for kilometers in every direction. But Reyes was already inside. She lay prone beneath a collapsed scanning dish, wrapped in a shredded tarp. Her rifle was cleaned, balanced, and loaded with the last custom round she carried, tungsten core, frictionless casing. The barrel stretched toward the inner balcony of the command center. Moth pinged gently in her ear. Voss has emerged. Wearing full armor. No shield activated. He wants to see it coming. Affirmative. Line of sight established. Wind 1.2 east. Humidity rising. She adjusted her aim, slow and steady. There he stood. General Voss, commander of 6 sectors, slayer of worlds, watching the horizon like a conqueror on a throne. His reptilian eyes scanned the jungle as if daring it to move. She remembered his broadcast weeks ago, when Earth's colonies fell. Let this be a lesson to your kind. Firearms? Obsolete. Your time is over. Now, here he was, standing on stolen ground, waiting for the weapon he mocked. 20 seconds. Her breathing slowed. She centered the scope just above his collarbone, where armor met flesh. 10 seconds. Moth whispered, trajectory optimal. 5. A breath. Trigger squeeze. The shot cracked like thunder, no suppressor this time. Voss staggered, clutching his throat. Blood sprayed across the platform. He dropped to his knees, trying to speak, but only a wet gurgle escaped. Chaos erupted. Guards shouted. Alarms screamed. Drones took to the air. Reyes was already gone. She bolted through the utility shaft beneath the tower. Up ahead, thermal pipes hissed as pressure shifted. She leapt over grates, slid through the last breach in the wall, and vanished into the smoke trails of the awakening jungle. Moth kept her path updated in real time. 2 drones pursuing. Close air. She ducked into a ravine, unslung a compact EMP mine, and slapped it against a moss-covered boulder. Light it. Moth pulsed blue. Whump. The explosion sent a ripple through the air. The drones jerked, spun, and crashed behind her, sparks trailing. She didn't look back. By midday, she reached the evac point, just a flat clearing where the signal beacon blinked in silent rhythm. A battered dropship descended through the clouds, earth-made, ancient, blackened by age and war. As it landed, the rear hatch groaned open. A familiar voice called out, "Took your sweet time, Ghost." Reyes grinned as she limped up the ramp. Inside stood Captain Ao, lean and scarred, holding her rifle like it was sacred. "You got him?" Reyes didn't answer. She just handed over Moth's data core. Ao plugged it into his reader. The holoscreen lit up, footage of Voss bleeding out. The room fell silent. He looked up. "The Council will see this. You know that, right? They'll know one human did this." "Good," she said. "They need to know we're not relics. We're reminders." The dropship lifted off. Below, Crater Base descended into panic. Leadership fractured. Troops scrambled to retreat. Orders clashed. By nightfall, a dozen outer colonies would rise in rebellion. Because they saw the impossible. Because they saw her. In orbit, a fractured broadcast echoed across the Coalition's encrypted channels. "She is not many. She is not a myth. She is one ghost with a bullet."